So as you heard, the blue juice, that was a memory I wanted to share. I really think he was just trying to bribe me into liking him. It's one thing I just remembered. Al and I both really liked astronomy. And so I have memories of him taking me to the planetarium down in the city. I think it was in Minneapolis. It's not there anymore, but that was always just a really fun thing that him and I did. And along with that, when he worked at Suburban Chef, he would get home super late, like 2, 3 in the morning. And if there was a meteor shower that night, we would get up on the roof and watch for meteors. It's hard to like sum up your life with somebody in just like a few sentences, so I apologize. So if you've ever been in conversation with Al, or you just know how Al talks, like how he carries himself in his conversation, I always thought he had Al-isms. So one thing I remember him saying is if somebody burped loudly, he would say barn animal. I don't know if anybody can remembers that. He always used to say, dang it, Beavis, which I think it was supposed to be a different word in place of dang it, Beavis, but something he always said. And then a few people might remember this one, but he would constantly say, careful, Sam. Bob and John and my mom might remember that on a camping trip. There was it's a long story, but basically it was a video of a man climbing a tree trying to like rescue or do something with an owl nest or cut down the tree. I don't remember, but the guy climbing the tree and then the guy below on the ground kept saying, careful, Sam, careful, Sam. So it became Al's thing that he said if you were about to hurt yourself or do something silly. It was careful, Sam. I'll just remember him saying that. And then it's kind of my last memory I wanted to share. Whenever I would be grounded in middle school or high school for grades or attitude problem, but he let me get away with things that you probably didn't know about. And so just kind of with that, Al showed me what it was like to have a good father. What he meant to me. I guess that's all the memories I wanted to share. So, I don't know if anybody.
Anybody else have memories they'd like to?
Oh, fuck.
Okay. Thank you for attending my cousin Alan's memorial service. And I were 8 years apart in age. Of course, he was older. We both grew up in small towns. Alan in Dumont and Wheaton, Minnesota, and I in Finland, Minnesota. Alan's mother, Margie, and my dad, Donnie, were brother and sister. I spent 3 months a year
Come on. What's going on?
My memories of Alan started in Dumont, Minnesota. Alan and Janet had a bedroom upstairs in We played Candyland and Chutes and Ladders. We would walk to a man's house. His name was Monty. He sold minnows, and he'd let us play in a wheelchair, what I can remember. And I think he had both of his legs removed. Their dad, Don, had built, and I'm not sure what year that was. We called it the Ponderosa. We fished for bullheads in their river that was right outside of their backyard. We used long bamboo poles, and we never wanted to take the fish off the hook because we were told that they had whiskers and they'd sting us. I can remember Alan getting to drive a John Deere lawn tractor. They had a toilet in their basement that flushed, and it would go uphill. And Alan had a name for that toilet, and I cannot remember what the name was. Maybe Janet can.
It was George after the elevator and the movie, and it was Patty that named it.
Oh my goodness sakes. I was so young, I can't remember that. Okay. And Alan and Janet always had pet turtles. Because he read so much. Now to go back to Sundays. Sunday dinners after church.
That's petty. Oh, shit.
Alan always had to be reminded that it was his turn. Alan, it's your turn. My dad called Alan a curtain climber. Traveling near and far with Alan was always a treat. This is the way he would say it. Up the hill, down the hill, up the hill, down the hill for hours. Alan called me Subi Honey for a brand of honey that was back then.
What is that?
When Alan and their family traveled to Finland to see us, we also lived on a river. He called it the root beer river. It's the color of root beer, and it always has and had bubbles along the banks. Alan and Janet also are the godparents to my oldest son, Chucky. Alan will always be with me in some way. If it's not the last conversation we had together about life, it'll be his handsome smile. We're all blessed to have had Alan in our lives. Now to you, Alan. Rest with no pain. Until we see each other again, I love you, special angel. Give me a sign once in a while. My dad throws me pennies from heaven. How about if you throw me dimes? I'll pick every one of them up, and I'll think of you and smile and blow you a kiss to heaven. I love you, dear honey, Sue Bee Honeybee.
Hi, everyone. I will be reading this from my son, Anthony, who cannot be here today. Al is my uncle. I have so many memories spending time with him. One Christmas, I remember him taking us all to the movies and had a great time. We almost always spent the 4th of July in Excelsior on our little hill, watching the fireworks, which meant we got to ride in the back of his truck on the way there and back, which was very awesome as a kid. Uncle Al was always the guy we went to light our Wisconsin bought fireworks. Then a neighbor would end up calling the police. We would all evade the law and quickly scatter in the house. Nicest, caring guy. I always enjoyed talking with him. Those long talks. I thought he was smart and always looked up to him. He could always fix stuff, anything, no matter what it was, which was amusing to me. One time I remember going camping with Uncle Al, and it rained the whole time. Then all of a sudden, his side of the camper collapsed. And all the water drenched on him in the middle of the night. It woke us all up and we were like, what the heck was that? Uncle Al was the first person in my family, beyond my cousins, that I accepted in my Facebook, which says a lot. For being the first adult family member I accepted to snoop on my page, because that's what adults do. LOL. I always considered Uncle Al a positive role model. I will miss you, and I will always call you my uncle. Love, Aunt. Short.
All right. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mary Ann, and I am Laura's mom, Anna and Will's grandma, and little Lukey's great-grandma, or Gigi. So I was Al's dreaded mother-in-law. I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to share some of my thoughts, memories, and celebrate Al's life with you. Al was truly a great man. He was small in stature, but huge in talents and heart. A loving father and grandfather, Al worked hard, but he also played hard. I remember meeting him well over 20 years ago when he worked at the Sinclair station in Hopkins. And I thought about his tousled brown hair, his big dimples, and infectious smile. And I thought he was pretty cute. He loved cars and was an accomplished mechanic. If you had trouble with your car, call Al. He could fix it. He also loved the outdoors and camping. He was very much a perfectionist. If he did a caulk job around your tub, it was perfect. And he also had many other hobbies, doing home repairs and remodeling. I also remember He always found the best parking spot at the 4th of July fireworks, taking the kids in the back of his truck. He also cooked, and he made the best gravy at our holiday meals. I could go on, and if you ever needed anything, you could count on Al. He helped all the time and never asked or expected anything in return. His passing really took me by surprise. He did suffer many years with back pain, and more recently he dealt with other health issues and struggles. I thought about the last time I saw Al, and it was at my daughter Heather's. He was working on her deck, and I heard noise outside, and so I went and looked, and there was Al working, repairing some of the slats on her deck. And we talked for a while, and he was telling me how he was so excited. Him and a bunch of his buddies had started a remodel home repair business, and they were so busy, and he was making money hand over fist, and he really was happy. And I remember he was telling me he was looking for a place to live, and did I know of anything? And I told him I'd keep my eye open for him. Well, I never knew that that was going to be the last time that I saw him. And it was sometime before the pandemic. I don't remember exactly when. But after that day, I had really meant to keep up and keep in touch with him. I didn't forget him. I asked about him several times. I wished him a happy birthday on Facebook, but I didn't pick up the phone and call him. I always thought I'd see him again. If I had known, I would have never had another chance to see or talk to Al. I would have stayed outside longer and talked and laughed with him more. I would have made sure he knew how important he was to me and to our family, and how much I really appreciated all the times he helped me fix my car or came over and repaired something. It was awesome the way he just did everything. He could do everything. He left us way too soon, and he will be missed. And I thank him for all the memories. He loved and was loved, and he brought smiles and laughter to everyone who knew him. I always thought I'd see him again. So what I have to say is hug those you love a little bit tighter, and tell those you love a little bit more, and tell them again and again, because you just never know when it might be the last time. And leave everyone on a good note. If you can't be kind, don't say anything at all. So thank you, Al, for the memories. Thank you for being a father to Anna and giving us Will and little Lukey. You will remain in our hearts forever. We will never forget you. Thank you.
It's kind of hard to distill everything down to a little bit, and I've forgotten a lot of the things Susie talked about. Growing up, Al was usually the quiet kid, but he had the ability to see the humor in every situation. He was the pesky, bratty little brother who grew up to be a good friend and a helper to me. We had grand adventures as kids, trekking along the riverbank for hours at a time, climbing trees and fishing in the river. We weren't supposed to go into the river, and we weren't allowed to swim, but he always managed to fall in the river at least once a year. So he got his swim, and one year he managed to drive the lawn tractor into the river. Even as a kid, he was a friend to everyone. He was always helping friends with their projects, with their cars, and he always helped Graham's little old lady friends when they said they had something wrong with their cars. Over the years, he's helped me with so many projects, always doing meticulous work down to the last little detail. He always knew the answer to my house or car questions when I call him up. I'll miss having those connections with him, and I'll miss his quirky sense of humor and his quick wit. I hope he's now in a place to realize what a positive force he was to everybody who knew him. Rest in peace, Al.
Anybody else would like to share a few words?
My name is Will. Al is my dad. I just kind of wanted to say a few words because I felt like I owed it to him. Growing up, he always was an easygoing, understanding father who would always respond to my needs in the best possible way. My dad was the kind of guy that was helpful, and he would help you just because he wanted to help you, not because he expected anything in return. He's the kind of guy that would loan you 20 bucks, and in his own words, he would just expect you to pay him back, and if you didn't, he'd forget about it. He never had a problem with anybody. He tried to get along with everybody. And all in all, he was just a really great guy. So he will be missed. And I really find some comfort in the fact that he was loved by so many people and so many people showed up. So thank you all. That's all.
Thank you so much, all, for sharing today. There'll still be opportunities to continue sharing stories, continue sharing memories. Today, we'll be having a reception following service as well upstairs. I'd like to invite all of you on behalf of the family to share in that fellowship and some food as well. But continue sharing those stories today and in the days to come, and that hopefully gives a little bit of comfort to each one of you. Let's take a moment to calm our hearts and minds. Before we say farewell to Al, let us be grateful once more for the impact of his life on yours. Remember the good times you spent with him. Remember Al's love for you and your love for him. We are grateful for the life Al has lived and for all this life has meant to us. We are glad we saw his face and felt the touch of his hand. We will forever cherish Al's memories of words, deeds, and his character. Most of all, we will cherish Al's love. We now leave the memory of our beloved Al in peace. I am sure that he would not want you to grieve and hurt or pain, but think of the joy that he has given, that he has received, and that he has shared with each one of you. May you find comfort in your memories of Al. May you find strength and support in your love for one another, and may you find peace in your hearts in the days to come. Let us close with the Serenity Prayer and a special song. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace, taking, as Jesus did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it. Trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will, that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever in the next.